And there it is, the viral lobster nachos from now found at Boardwalk Dining at Lamplight Lounge. Let's dig in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Spreads and Magic 1928. Today I do have a special recipe for you, and it is the viral lobster nachos. Lobster nachos were once found at Lamplight Lounge, which was downstairs. Now they can only be found at the Cove Bar, which is upstairs. They've been around, I think, since, did I say Cove Bar upstairs? I meant Boardwalk Dining, Lamplight Lounge, Boardwalk Dining. But it used to be called the Cove Bar, and I believe upstairs, and that's where these nachos originated. I didn't have them until 2022 was the first time I had the lobster nachos. Thought they were great. I love extra sauce, extra cheese sauce. Just absolutely fantastic. I have not had them since I moved upstairs. Reviews on the updated version have been mixed, but Disney gives us the recipe themselves off the D23 website back when they were at Lamplight Lounge. So that's what we're gonna make. I will tell you full recipe directions, but I'm only making a half batch. Full recipes for 8 to 10 people. That's not me. And while I'm going to make the cheese sauce from scratch, which is kind of involved, I'm gonna do some other shortcuts. The cheese sauce requires lobster stock, which you would make with your lobster tails if you're doing from scratch lobster. I'm not. I have Better Than Bouillon lobster base, bouillon, whatever. I only need a cup of sauce, so I think that's a teaspoon. I'll read the directions. I think it's a teaspoon of this. You can also use this to make lobster risotto. It's awesome. Crema, chipotle crema. I have my own. I make it all the time. It's stocked in the fridge, as you can see, but I am gonna roast a little bit of garlic next to this stuff. We already have to roast some, and then I'll add it to that with a pinch of cumin. They do give you a recipe for chipotle crema. Make it better than store-bought, and it's super simple. I just happen to already have some. Pico de gallo, you can use store-bought pico. It's no problem. I have an overabundance of tomatoes. So I'm gonna, while this stuff is roasting, I'm gonna chop tomatoes, onion, cilantro, lime juice, salt. That's it. Ratios to your liking, or again, they give you the directions. These nachos also have seasoned black beans. Seasoned black beans, whole. The recipe that they give you is to take a can of black beans and add seasonings. But if you can find this, already done. All that's easy. The lobster cheese sauce is what's difficult. So you need 3 poblanos, roughly chopped. You're gonna toss them in oil and put them in a preheated oven at 350 for 15 minutes. After that, you're gonna add a roughly chopped shallot and 3 garlic cloves, also tossed in oil, onto this pan for another 25 minutes, give or take. So let me pop these in. Because I didn't wanna deal with lobster tails and having to cook and do everything to them, I was able to get these from Trader Joe's. They come and go, but they're the, let me see if I can say it, langostino tails. So they're a little bit more like shrimp. They're like a mix of a crab, shrimp, lobster thing. And they're pretty small, so they're already bite-sized. Honestly, it looks like crawdad, but it's not crawdad. This is the name that has to be on there. And I have half a bag defrosting, so if you're doing a full batch of nachos, it'd be a full bag. 5 medium lobster tails equals about 10 ounces of meat. If the lobster tails are 4 ounces each, once you take the shell off, this is 12 ounces. So yeah. It's defrosting, and then we'll cook it up in some butter right before we make our nachos. While this stuff roasts, I'm gonna make my pico de gallo, and I'm gonna shred my cheese, and everything else is pretty much done. And that is it for now. So I will see you back here. So after about 40 minutes, when all this is caramelized, you're gonna blend it up, and then we'll take it to the stove and make the cheese sauce. You're gonna wanna melt a 1/4 stick of butter in a saucepan over medium heat. When the butter's melted, add flour and whisk to make a roux. You want it to smell nutty and get a little bit darker. It's 2½ tablespoons of flour, and it says to do this for about 4 to 5 minutes. If you print the directions from the internet, it's gonna tell you manufacturing cream. Pretty much the closest you can do is heavy cream. It's not quite fatty enough, but it's what we have access to. Mine's been sitting out to get to room temperature. It'll make the next step go faster if it's not ice cold. So once your roux is ready, you are gonna whisk in your heavy cream. You're gonna bring the cream to a boil, stirring constantly, and cook for 10 minutes. When your cream has thickened, you're gonna add 1 cup of lobster stock and your poblano puree. Mine didn't quite get super smooth, but it'll be all right. Bring to a simmer, stirring occasionally. So I'm gonna turn it down to medium-low. When your mix comes to a simmer, you wanna start adding cheese. You want 2 cups of cheddar and 4 ounces of Oaxaca. It's always best to stir cheese with a wooden spoon when you're trying to melt it, preferably in a figure-8 pattern. All right, looks like our cheese sauce is cheesy, so we are gonna move over and do our lobster tails, or our langostino tail. Just gonna do this how I see fit, so I'm gonna melt 2 tablespoons of butter over medium heat. Toss your prepared lobster tails into some melted butter, season with salt, freshly ground pepper, and a touch of lime juice. Toss around in that butter until it is heated through. Our cheese sauce is ready. Our lobster is heated through. It's time to assemble. You're gonna want, for a full order, they say to do a pound of cheese, mixed jack and cheddar. Also, there's instructions on how to make your own chips. We have a tortilla factory in town where I could get fresh made chips, and they are amazing. However, I have an open bag, so I'm being responsible and using what I have. I've set my oven to broil as well, and they do give you the instructions on how to layer this. First is black beans, and make sure if you get the already seasoned ones, you've drained them. I don't rinse them because I want the seasoning, but I did drain them. And then you top it with the cheese sauce, and they want you to make sure every chip is covered. This looks so good. I think this is the extra, I think I asked for extra cheese sauce last time I was there. It was either that or the chipotle crema. Actually, it was probably both. And then top with cheese. It's a lot of cheese. I'm not complaining. I love cheese, but it's a lot of cheese. And then we're gonna pop it under the broiler for a couple minutes and then be back to top. All right, I took my nachos out, almost burnt them, so set a timer if you have somebody over and you're talking. I am gonna plate them separately so I don't grab the cookie sheet while I'm eating, because sometimes I forget that things come right out of the oven. This is so cheesy. We are going to top these with the pico first. I use my fork to make sure it's not too juicy, and will make my chips soggy. And then we're gonna top with lobster tail that you've heated up in butter. And then chipotle crema, like with a hole cut in a bag, or use a piping bag to make it all purty. And there it is, the viral lobster nachos from now found at Boardwalk Dining at Lamplight Lounge. Let's dig in. All right, I'm so excited. Let's see. Cheese, melted cheese, tons of black beans on this one. Lobster, crema, pico. These are so good. I don't remember how close this tastes, but seeing as you can't get them at Lamplight Lounge anymore, but you can make them at home, do it. It is worth the work for the cheese sauce. And I shortcut this lobster stock. I shortcut the lobster. I shortcut the black beans. You can shortcut the pico. You can even use pre-shredded cheese. I don't recommend it, but you could. The cheese sauce is where it's at. It is so good. And yeah, don't shortcut the cheese sauce. You can make your own lobster nachos at home with about an hour's work. A lot of it's roasting and hands-off time, but it is so good. Kind of wish I was there right now, but it's okay. Anyhow, thanks for stopping by today. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and spread some magic wherever you are. Until next time.